So welcome back. My name is Paul Smyers. I've been doing a lot of videos regarding ancient technology, ancient history, along with a lot of other types of subjects that are related. And one of the themes that I talk about is the possibility of ancient technology and civilization that we're unaware of. And it can be a controversial subject. So I started to think a lot about different kinds of technologies that are very profound but overlooked and very simple, that have been used by people around the world for many thousands of years and that we still use today. And among those things, I talked a little bit about sailing ships and various kinds of celestial navigation and so on. But the most powerful technology, you might say, that we often overlook is the ability for a human being to become self-aware and use their own technology. After all, whatever great civilizations we produce as human beings and machines and all kinds of gadgets that we have, all of that comes from our own technology, which is our own brain, our own awareness. And if you look at many of the ancient teachings that go back very far into parts of India, northern India, Tibet, China, they're all around the world, really, particularly in what's now Ireland and Scotland and that area. But there are techniques about how to use the mind. And I believe personally my own personal favorites are the Upanishads and the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Whatever our civilization was in terms of trade routes and types of technologies and buildings and so on that we had, say back 10,000 years ago, whatever was happening back then, we should never overlook the power of the human mind. And if you read some of these ancient teachings, it was clear that in spite of the simple lives that people lived in terms of having luxuries and devices like that, they had perfected meditation. And they wrote about it. They had a lot of time on their hands, I imagine. They didn't have as many distractions, and they may have been extremely sensitive to their environment, their well-developed senses, and so their technology was using their mind to feel and sense the magnetism, the moisture, the ions, the chemistry, the electrostatic fields, the kinetic electric fields that are in our environment, and that was their technology. And because of that brilliance, you have, for example, the old martial arts, Tai Chi, and all that, where people use incredible amount of energy. It's something that we don't think about. When people are shopping at the mall and looking at stuff and sitting down with their coffee and chatting away, they're not really paying attention to these incredible forces that people who lived outdoors, even today down in Brazil and places like that, I mean, there's amazing perceptions that these people have. They know all the plants and everything. So what I'm getting at is that the power of the human mind is our greatest technology. This is something that we can use. And by focusing moments and moments and moments of precision, a precision of feeling and moving in tune with the electrodynamic fields that are in our environment. And one of the things that you can do, you can use natural substance. After all, yes, there's a lot of incredible materials that we have developed now with our technology, Velcro and nylons and all kinds of stuff. But there are also a lot of really incredible natural substances and materials that nature produces that we can't duplicate. We don't know how to deal, so maybe that in some ways their technology of plants and so on was a lot better than ours thousands and thousands of years ago. They didn't have big factories. They used nature as their factory, is what I'm getting at. Now, the power of the human mind stems from our awareness. Whatever we want to accomplish, a civilization or whatever we want to do, it really starts with our attention. And that's where the genius of some of these yogis and rishis and people that came out of Asia and Native Americans and just amazing perceptions. Now, how do they get these perceptions? Well, nowadays, we call them altered states. But from the point of view of what is an altered state? Just walking through a mall and jumping at everything and totally distracted and no awareness whatsoever and just complete chaos in your attention span? Is that the normal? Well, that's what someone else might say. Well, that's an altered state. That is a crazy state. That is an insanity state. And it really pays to listen. Now, I have made a practice of my life of being very, very interested in these teachings, and I practice them. And I've learned a lot over the long time that I've been doing this. And like I said, it really starts with our attention. What are we perceiving? If we perceive, like there's a phrase in Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, the procession of moments. Moments in the procession. You see one moment, the next moment, and the next moment, but not, it's more of a clear stream of awareness. Now, I was reading the works of a late 19th century, late 1800s, I believe, the yogi named Ramana Maharishi. And this man was an amazing man. You have to look him up. But he lived an incredibly simple life. But he would sit there in front of people in a total steadiness, total peace. People could just sit there for a while and they would immediately just feel something incredible. And he would teach silently or with words or with just gestures. And it was clear that he had an incredible awareness just sitting there. Because he called that the natural state. The natural state of human beings, the real natural state of a human being, is to sit in complete peace and awareness of the beauty within and the beauty without. In a simultaneous inbreathing and outbreathing, a perfect flow of energy. And it's not a mental thing, it's actually, there's a physical, it's real. And now, getting back to the theme of ancient peoples, now why couldn't people 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 years ago have such incredible awarenesses? Maybe they meditated. Maybe they just were super hyper focused. Maybe they just took some plant by mistake or something, and then they were just like deer these days. I mean, they live in the woods and they're always just on. I mean, they're just like top, or they die, you know. Maybe there was a time when human beings were just so on the ball because they had to function. They were not like spaced out. They were incredibly alert. Now, we're going to explore this theme in our next segment because of the YouTube limit.